Elizabeth Wagaye, or Eliswa, was born to Thomman and Tanda couple of Vaipisheri family on October 15, 1831. They belonged to Cruz Milagres parish in Vaipinkara. Eliswa received all her sacraments and catechetical formation in this parish church, Cruz Milagres.
This Vaipinkara has historical origin as an island narrated in numerous historical books. In the year 1341, there was a flood as severe or more intense than that we witnessed few years back. In this flood, as natural phenomena, vast volume of mushy mud got accumulated at various locations in Kochi. Thus, from out of mud heaps emerged new island. One of such island is Vaipinkara.
Old Kochi is a land of numerous backwaters, streams and paddy fields. During high tide, these areas will be filled with sea water, and at low tide, lots of muddy areas or muddy heaps of large volumes used to emerge. These heaps are of mushy mud called mud or chali. In Sanskrit, mud is translated as Goshri. It is from this word when the connecting bridges between these islands were built, it was named as Goshri Bridge. God's grace reflected in Vaipisheri family. During those days, the social setup was such, girls' education or free thinking was strictly prohibited to such a degree that they were not allowed to freely move around. Such behavior is considered to be seriously sinful and shameful. Women were bound within the walls of the house. However, Eliswa's family was different by giving education to her by keeping a tutor at home. She grew in knowledge and wisdom and in the grace of God. Humility and prudence was her loud qualities. Garlanding Marian icon was her unforgettable daily routine. Seeking the guidance and blessings from Mother Mary in all the endeavors was her part of life.
Seeing her, some predicted this way: she will be the light of the world and salt of the earth. Eliswa's brother, Father Louis T.O.C.D. recalled, from childhood, Eliswa was very sincere and generous, extending help to the needy, and she found lot of happiness in such activities. Vaipisheri Roman Catholic families were considered to be extremely God-fearing, well-respected and progressive in thinking. These qualities were naturally instilled in the child Eliswa and her siblings. Eliswa was the eldest among the siblings, total 8 children. Being the eldest, she developed from her childhood a sense of responsibility and concern for all others. She developed the quality of humility, patience, responsibility, and was able to take care of the younger ones.
Spiritual guidance of Kerala Christian community for both Latin and Syrian community was basically in the hands of Carmelites of Verapoli Diocese for 228 years.
Verapora was the junction point for the river Periyar, which had branches to all 4 corners. In those days, depending on the feasible travelling means, the missionaries chose their place to administration as Verapura or Verapoli.
A wonderful story runs the history regarding the name Varapura. Varal or bral is a delicacy among the seafood. This particular fish, varal, is largely seen in these areas of river. Since the area is specially known for the fish varal, the people began to call it as Varalpura, that is, Varal River. As time passed, the pronunciation has always got chipped and polished, thus emerged as Varapura. The name of the river later became the name of the adjacent land as well, Varapura. When the same Varapura came out from Latin missionaries, it took a slightly different name as Varapoli. Moreover, in Latin the word Varapoli would translate almost as place or person of truth. In today's time, Varapura is situated at Paravur in the district of Ernakulam.
From Verapura, about 3 kilometers north, is situated a place called Kunnamavu. The name Kunnamavu has also a history. During the time of Tipu Sultan, in Sridharan Menon's writing, we can see that Tiruvitankur army was pushed back by Sultan's army in the year 1790 on April 15. A lengthy story about the fleet of forts which was captured by Sultan is narrated. At one such journey through these area, Sultan halted for a rest. He ungirded his sword before rest, but while they resumed the journey with all the battles and survival bags, the sword of Sultan was left behind. It's after quite long distance, Sultan remembered about the sword he left behind. He then sent his soldiers back saying, "Look for the Kunnamavu, that is a huge mango tree, under which you will find a sword." The soldiers journeyed back, asking and looking for one Kunnamavu, and reached the place, finding the sword. From then, that area was began to be known as Kunnamavu.
One Vagail Varid arrived at Kunnamavu from Palayur. He was a spice merchant who had business route in Kochi, Varapura, Kodungalur area. A story narrates that it was the government policy at that time to find rich merchants and give out huge vacant land for economic stability. Thus, village officers approached Vagail Varid to obtain a huge property at Kunnamavu, and he agreed and became the landlord of 450 acres of land in Kunnamavu.
After building a bungalow in the middle of the property, Vagail Varid and family shifted from Palai to Kunnamavu. From Vagail families, numerous Latin priests and sisters emerged. It is this family that contributed to Kunnamavu church construction.
Eliswa, at her age of 16, and far away at Vagail family, Vattaravu was 21 years of age, who was so dear to all, and being looking for suitable bride for him, while Vaipisheri family was looking for a groom for Eliswa. Thus, both families came together. After the marriage, both came to Vagail family at Kunnamavu. Eliswa liked the new surroundings and easily merged to the new situations. In the year 1850, April 21, Eliswa gave birth to a girl child and named her Anna. They grew in grace as blessing for both the families. In the year 1851, when Anna was 1.5 years old due to an unknown sickness, Vattaravu entered eternity, leaving behind a sorrowful and shocking families. But Eliswa murmured the prayer, "Let your will be done."
Even before marriage, Eliswa's life was God-centered. After the death of her husband, her spiritual life began to be more aflame. That bitter life experience, in fact, renewed her relation with Jesus and Mary. In those days, Eliswa's family and social situation was such that she could have had a second marriage and settle well without any difficulty. 7 big mansions, vast coconut plantation, mango plantation, 6 paddy fields, a cash deposit of 2,000. All these ownership of husband Vattaravu came to Eliswa. Beyond all these, in today's time, she was well educated and holder of valuable wisdom and prudence. Adding all these, she was beautiful and elegant. Nevertheless, she abstained from that journey and began deep spiritual life along with other house chores and spent all the spare time in the meditation of the Lord and His plan, and expressed her desire not to marry again to her family members. However, she continued to live in her husband's house, taking care of all the house chores, including the care of property and other related works. Rest of the time, she used to be in prayerful life. Though Eliswa was doing all house chores as well as spiritual activities, she herself was sensing always a taste of incompletion, a feeling of lack of fulfillment. She never knew what, but always a feeling that there is lot to do again. This haunted her.
One day in 1862, at Kunamawa Church, after prayer, Eliswa prayed to God with deep sorrow. During that moment, she felt like someone saying that talk to Kochumupachan, that is Father Leopold Maria Joseph OCD.
Eliswa immediately arranged to talk to him and revealed everything to him. She had narrated the same to her own brother, Louis Vaipishari, as well. From then on, Father Leopold used to guide her spiritually. Along with her daughter Anna and Teresa, her sister, also approached Father Leopold OCD for spiritual guidance and confession.
To obtain God's innumerable blessings and prayer, Eliswa opted to stay in the corner of her mansion in a small room. Later, with the help of her brother-in-laws, she shifted to a small hut outside the mansion. Very soon, she got repaired one of the kalapura or storeroom and prepared a 3-room prayer hall and shifted herself to her. Thus, Eliswa and Anna became the inmates.
In the year 1860, Anna was 10 years old. She too, under the guidance of her mother, grew in knowledge, wisdom, and fear of God. Eliswa's younger sister Teresa, who was born in May 8, 1848, she was 17 years younger to Eliswa and 2 years elder to Anna. The youngest in Ochenturut Vaipishari family, she was a dear one to all the family members. She was also God-fearing, capable in everything. She had a great attraction to the prayer life of Eliswa and Anna. Whenever time permits, she used to visit Kunnamavu Wakahil family to meet her sister and daughter Anna. Teresa was always at her father's house at Ochamturut, studying and engaged in other house chores and spiritual activities.
At one point, she expressed her wish to her parents and sought blessing to be with her sister Eliswa and Anna to lead a spiritual life. All were shocked and her father vehemently opposed her plan. At the time when Father Leopold visited Ochamdur, she expressed her wish to be with her sister and pursued in her vocation. He consoled and strengthened her. Through Father Thomas Kionmar, who met her parents and convinced her parents, he expressed the fact that very soon a women congregation will be established, for which the Archbishop has started the process. With this, though with a very heavy heart, Thomman and Thanda, the parents, agreed to her wish.
History narration proves that in India, no consecrated community emerged from about 500 AD to 1500 AD. In 1865, Archbishop Bernardine had written to Rome regarding the start of a women congregation in his vicariate. Meanwhile, Father Leopold narrated the story of Eliswa and 2 others to Archbishop. Their eagerness in spiritual life and sacrifice convinced the bishop. After a long wait, prayer, and efforts, the test of the consecrated life was completed.
However, for a final test, Bishop demanded that They should first live in an ordinary people's thatched house for some time. So in one of Anna's ancestral plot, which was known as Kashandiyan Parambu, consisted of 25 acres, was chosen to make Panambu Madam. The construction started in January 1866, one prayer room, one dining room, and a special pathway only for them to go to church. These were the main concern. Anna's ancestral money was deposited as Mooladhanam of all three.
This is the story of Kerala's first consecrated community. The work for the Panambu Madam was completed on February 1864. Father Leopold blessed Panambu Madam. In the year 1866, February 13, after the prayer service on Tuesday morning, on the specially prepared pathway with parents and relatives, all three sisters came to Panambu Madam. At that moment, Father Chavra lit the lamp. As a representative of Bishop, Father Leopold handed over the habits and scapular and appointed Eliswa as the superior. Father Leopold was appointed as their confessor and spiritual guide. Light brown scapular, white full hand dress with head cover cloth and coat was their habit. At that time, Eliswa was 34 years old, Anna was 15 and Teresa 17. Mother Eliswa brought up this small community in the spirit of Theresian Carmelite order.
Later, a fourth member, Clara, joined, who was a Syrian by right. Many more joined from Latin and Syrian rite. However, as per the decree of Pope Leo XIII in the year 1887, and the Sacred Congregation of Propaganda Fide decided that the first convent at Kunamavu be given to the Syrian Vicariate of Trichur. Thus, Mother Eliswa, the foundress, and the sisters who belonged to Latin Rite (CTC) were shifted to St. Joseph's Convent at Varapura. The Syrian community was named CMC.
Very less is known to the public, even to the sisters of CTC, about the sacrifice and heroism of Mother Eliswa, because their spiritual life is such that no one sound a trumpet on the heroism of any one of their family, even the senior most.
The source of the above narrations are from the daily writings, which was not so public. In the year 1913, at the age of 82, Mother Eliswa was called to eternal life. Her mortal remains are in Smriti Mandir at Varapura.
Today, CTC that began a journey from Panambu Madam or a small hut has 190 convents with nearly 1400 members working in 9 provinces and 2 regions, spread out to 59 dioceses in India, Germany, Italy, Rwanda and USA.
The impact that sprouted from the Panambu Madam to our time is no small journey.
Spiritual nourishment, women empowerment, medical services, education, social services.
In all this, the unique service to humanity is that at a time when women were considered mere objects bound within the 4 walls,
at a time a widow was considered a curse,
at a time when sati was practiced,
Mother Eliswa thought of and achieved the goal of education for girls, pre-thinking.
all this she achieved, uniting herself strongly to God in continuous prayer and sacrifice with one prayer.
Lord, let thy will be done.
You are my strength when I am weak. You are the treasure that I seek. You are my